Welcome, Pewter Report readers, viewers, and listeners to a brand new edition of the Pewter Pregame Show, brought to you by PewterReport.com. Folks, we have made it. It is game day. Your Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a game at 1 o'clock p.m. on the road against the Atlanta Falcons. The time has come. We are going to break it down and see if the Bucs can begin their year 1-0 atop of the NFC South division. We got a lot to get into. I'm fired up. The cannons have been fired, and hopefully there will be plenty of cannons fired today with the Bucs scoring points. So let's get into it. I'm your host, Matt Matera. Joined with me is the face that runs the place at PewterReport.com, SR, Scott Reynolds. Scott, are you ready for some football?
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, right? I mean, I'm going to be honest, Matt. We've been doing the Pewter Report podcast for years and years and years together, right? And I usually don't kind of get butterflies doing it because we do it so often, right? Mondays, hopefully it's a victory Monday on Monday. We do it Wednesdays. You and Adam do it on Thursdays typically. And then we'll do a post-game podcast tonight, or I should say this afternoon, but typically on Sundays or on game days, we'll do a Pewter Report post-game podcast. And I just kind of show up for those, and excited about those. This Pewter pregame show is different. This hits different this morning. We've been waiting for this day since that awful loss to the Commanders in the wild card game last year. And we're not the only ones, Matt. I think Graham Barton, I think Baker Mayfield, I think Yaya Diaby, Kalijah Kancey. These guys have been waiting, 9 months to get that bad taste out of their mouth. And not just that, but also to get some revenge against those dirtiest of dirty birds, the Falcons, who, listen, the Buccaneers, at the end of the day, they had to thank the Falcons for falconing, which means choking. That's what the Falcons do best. They choke. And they lost both of those games, including the one at Atlanta in overtime last year, to the Falcons. And they had to rely on the Falcons to give the lead back to them by losing a couple of key games down the stretch. They lost to the Commanders. They lost their last game of the year to the Carolina Panthers in overtime. But you know what? The Buccaneers won at the end of the season, and they stole that division title back. Now it's time for some payback, Matt. It's time to take control of the NFC South in week 1 and try to hold on to it the rest of the year.
Yeah, there's got to be a little bit of a feel of having a chip on their shoulder for several reasons. And the fact that they got swept by the Atlanta Falcons certainly factors into that. Now, talking to some of the players in the locker room, they've kind of moved on from last year. Like, I think Baker made a great point. He's like, I think about our last loss of the season, not necessarily losing to Atlanta and getting swept. So, he thinks more about that loss to the Commanders than necessarily losing 2 in a row. Yaya Diaby kind of specified that as well, which Yaya grew up in Atlanta. He said he had to get more than 20 tickets for friends and family to be watching today. But the juices are flowing even extra when it's the first game of the season.
That's right.
We haven't watched Baker Mayfield. We have in training camp, but he didn't play in the preseason at all. I don't think that'll be too much of a factor, but it is Bucs fans' first time to see Baker Mayfield throwing around the pigskin in the 2025 season. And I also think this team wants to prove, while there are a lot of high expectations, and I think Todd Bowles brought up a great point. He was like, we didn't listen to anybody when everyone said we were going to be terrible. We're not going to listen to people now.
That's right.
I feel like there's two sides to the Bucs in terms of expectations and what people believe with them. There's one side that believe, they're going to go to the Super Bowl. There's the dark horse. There's the other side of, hey, they don't have Chris Godwin Jr. They don't have Jalen McMillan. They're missing Tristan Wirfs. And I'm not fully convinced that the defense is back to where it was. Benjamin Morrison isn't playing. So I think for those people, I'm not going to call them haters because I think there are some legitimate concerns in that aspect.
Perhaps doubters.
Yeah, doubters probably better.
Yeah.
But for people on that side of the fence, I think this is a great opportunity for the Bucs to prove that they can overcome a little bit of adversity to begin the season.
Yeah, no, I think that's spot on. Just received some injury news from my team sources. And listen, folks, if this is the first time that you're coming to watch the Pewter Pregame show at 9 o'clock. And just a reminder, every game day at 9 o'clock, we're going to be having the Pewter Pregame show. And that means that next week, when we have a 7 p.m. kickoff on Monday Night Football, that's right, 7 p.m., because there's a doubleheader on Monday night. The Bucs are the early game. We will be having Pewter Pregame at 9 a.m. next Monday. So just keep that in mind. Every single game day, there is a Pewter Pregame show on at 9 o'clock that particular day. So Thursday, later in the week, later in the year, the Falcons rematch in Week 15, that will be on Thursday at 9 a.m. So just wanted to cue that up for you guys and let you know that we're here for you at 9 o'clock. Why? Because we have some injury updates, the latest, most fresh information. Team sources tell me that it looks like Vita Vea will play. They do want to see him go through the pregame warm-ups, and they'll make that decision. The team did elevate veteran defensive tackle Adam Gotsis, who is a newcomer to this team, just in case. And if Vita Vea does play, will probably be on a pitch count. Matt, if I'm using him on early downs, first and second downs, to try to stop Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier, and then maybe sub in Logan Hall, who's a good pass rusher, right? 5.5 sacks. Play him more on third downs, give Vita Vea and that sore foot a break. But Vita Vea, they're going to take a look at him. It will probably be a game-time decision, yet the team is hopeful. He did practice in full on Friday. The team traveled to Atlanta yesterday, had a walkthrough. But they're encouraging signs. The fact that he got through that entire practice in full on Friday helps out. They're anticipating Vita Vea to play, and that's a good sign for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But what you don't want is you don't want him to play in his game, injure that foot, and then miss a game or two. So they're probably going to not play him the full complement of snaps that he normally would. There's a couple of other injured players we need to talk about, Matt, and these aren't really a surprise.
No, they're not. Christian Izien is – everyone that I'm about to mention is out, but Christian Izien with an oblique, that's been something that's been bothering him for several weeks. And that one's interesting because Todd Bowles has been saying for a couple of weeks now that it's more of a pain tolerance thing. Again, if this was a playoff game, I think Christian Izien is playing, but it's week 1 of the regular season, and you want players for the long haul, so they're certainly being precautious with him. Benjamin Morrison is out, but he is going to be good to go next week. So again, like he had just returned to practice, was going limited anyway, and still needs to kind of learn more of the install of the defense and everything like that. So he is out as well. Surprised that they didn't elevate a corner for this game. Wink, wink, Bryce Hall. And then also Tristan Wirfs and Chris Godwin Jr. Those were expected to be out. So all of those guys are out for this game. Izien, I think, is again an interesting one because he's an important piece to the puzzle. There's versatility. Right. There's certain matchups that I think Todd Bowles might be inclined to put Christian Izien into the game, depending on who's available, but not going to have that option for this one.
Yeah, I think what Todd Bowles will probably do is make sure that Rashad Wisdom is active, because he did show in the preseason he also can play nickel in addition to safety. And I hope as a reserve safety, he'll be in on special teams too, right? So he'll help you in a lot of ways. But Jacob Parrish is also an outside corner.
Yes.
At Kansas State, he was mostly an outside corner. He only had really a handful of snaps at nickel in certain games, but he was probably an 85% outside corner for his 3 years at Kansas State. So that's something to keep in mind too, is they do have some depth there. If something were to happen to Zyon McCollum or to Jamel Dean, they could put Parrish out there ahead of Josh Hayes. Okay, so let's not get too worried that we're going to see Josh Hayes playing some defense. He'll be on special teams, but they do have that flexibility, Matt, where they could move him there. They could also move Tyke Smith back to nickel if Parrish had to go outside, and they could insert Kayvon Merriweather at safety. So there's a couple of different ways that Todd Bowles could skin this cat if something were to happen to either Zyon McCollum or Jamel Dean, the two starters. And we'll get into Zyon McCollum a little bit in terms of the key matchups. We'll have that for you just a little bit. But listen, Zyon McCollum, he's got to be loving life right now. And I think he wants to celebrate that big contract extension that he signed on Friday. We did an emergency podcast, Matt, right after our Pewter Insider podcast, literally moments after that they announced the 3-year deal for Zyon McCollum. So congrats to Zyon, friend of the program. And hopefully he gets not just an interception, maybe a pick 6 today. That's what he wants to do to show the team his appreciation.
No better way to celebrate. But yeah, congratulations to Zyon McCollum, and shout out to the Bucs front office. A big week in terms of ensuring that they have cornerstone players for the foreseeable future. Remember, Luke Gedeke, it sounds like old news now at this point, but Luke Gedeke earlier this week was given a contract extension, and now Zyon McCollum gets one as well. And he just continues to be an ascending player that has gotten better with more playing time. And, this will be his second full year as an every game starter. It feels like he's been a 3-year starter because back in 2023, he started half the games due to injuries to Carlton Davis and current Buccaneer Jamel Dean. But if Zyon McCollum can become the corner we believe he can be, which is a Pro Bowl guy that has several takeaways like he was getting interceptions in college, if he becomes that guy, it just helps so much with what Tampa Bay can do with their overall game plan. I'm not saying that Zion's going to follow around Drake London for the entirety of the game or for other teams' best wide receivers week in and week out, but a shutdown or a overproductive cornerback changes the entire complexity of defenses, not just the Bucs, but the entire NFL. It's shutdown corners and threatening edge rushers are really kind of the key to having a successful defense.
That's right.
The Bucs hope they have some great outside linebackers with Hassan Reddick making his Bucs debut and Yaya looking to kind of regain his rookie form from 2 seasons ago. And then, of course, Zyon seems to be the guy on the back end at corner.
Well said. We've got a super chat to get to, but first we have a flurry of new Pewter Report TV channel members. Heart of Alliance Cigar Company, thank you so much for becoming a YouTube channel member, as well as Talkin' Trash. Greatly appreciate that very much. And the Bucs stop here. Love to see it, guys. Thank you all very much. And we also had Talkin' Trash. He upgraded already. So he's like, hey, we're just going to level up here. So greatly appreciate all of the Pewter Report TV channel members we have, whether it's a Pewter People membership, Pewter Pro, Pewter Premier, or Pewter Platinum. Greatly appreciate your support of this channel. And, of course, the Super Chats, too. Folks, we're open for business. You can Super Chat as you get right to the front of the line and interrupt the whole show, just like Mark Fisher did right here with the $4.99 Super Chat.
Yes, thank you, Rev Fish, for this $4.99. Says, with Irving, the featured back, do you know if running back Rachaad White at the slot is an option, or is that Ibuka and Sterling Shepard's role?
I think it's going to be Emeka Ibuka's role more so than anything. You're going to see Sterling Shepard replace Jalen McMillan out there at the flanker position, which is the Z receiver spot on the outside. Keep in mind, Josh Grizzard will mix it up. You're going to see Mike Evans in the slot too sometimes, right? And when they go with that trips or bunch personnel, you essentially have 2 slot receivers, right? If they use the tight end on the other side, which I think they're going to with Charlie Heck playing left tackle, probably you're going to see a tight end on that side, on the left side a lot today. And what that could mean is that could mean you have trips right quite a bit as well. And Evans might be one of those guys inside. But by and large, the Chris Godwin role of the slot receiver will be Emeka Ibuka's today and next week and every week until he is back. Why? Because he's the best Chris Godwin clone that I've ever seen. 6'1", 205, almost a physical carbon copy of Godwin. Catches just about everything thrown his way, moves the chains, has yards after the catch ability, tough, willing blocker, consistent. I mean, Jason Light and Todd Bowles absolutely nailed this first-round pick. Matt, you and I were scratching their heads when it happened. It all makes sense now, especially with Godwin being shelved for probably the first month of the season.
You could always Monday morning quarterback it, but man, after the injury, especially to Jalen McMillan too, I mean, it was a godsend that Emeka Ibuka is now a first-round pick for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Jason Light has a great history of drafting wide receivers in the first round. They tend to be Hall of Famers, at least so far with his track record, or future Hall of Famers, I should say.
Or at least Bucs Ring of Honor members, right? Vita Vea is going to be in the Ring of Honor.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he does have a touchdown reception, so that's very true as well. And then as far as Rachaad White goes, I don't think he's going to actually line up in the slot like as a legit receiver, but I'm curious how, one, how Josh Grizzard divvies up the running back reps overall.
Yeah.
2, how much do we see the pony package in this game?
Yes.
But also, I think I'm very curious with the receiving running backs in terms of, will we see Bucky the same way that we saw Bucky in that preseason game against Pittsburgh? Or does Josh Grizzard kind of stick with Rachaad White because you know what you're getting with Rachaad White in terms of those third down situations? That's one of those things that might be a little bit of a variation from Liam Cohen, and we won't really know until the game arrives at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, and it's interesting, right? Because we did see Rachaad White a couple of times, like that Detroit game, kind of rings a bell going down, the sidelines there. But we didn't see Rachaad White go vertical a whole bunch. Canales used him probably a little bit more. There's that creamsicle game against the Lions where he had that shot. And, of course, the Packers scored on a touchdown, basically on a go route, lined up in the slot. But we have seen Bucky Irving take to the sidelines, and not just in this game against Peyton Wilson, the Steelers inside linebacker, but also, gosh, he caught like a 35-yard, 40-yard pass down the sidelines, diving for that play in training camp. So that's one thing Josh Grizzard wants to do. He talked about becoming more of a vertical passing attack this year, getting some bigger plays in the passing game and chunk shots. And we could see that from Bucky Irving. If not today, we'll see it at some point in time this year. He's only 5'9", maybe?
Yeah, barely.
But he plays bigger than that as a receiver.
Oh, he does.
You wouldn't think it, but he certainly does, and he put that on film against the Steelers in that game. Matt, we have another super chat let's get to.
Yes, we do, and this is a fun one because Paul Bowen, thank you for the $1.99 super chat, is on my way to the game. Says Paul, fire the cannons. Love when Bucs fans, we've had this before, when Bucs fans are either on the way to the game like Paul is or tailgating that are listening to the Pewter pregame show. We've also had people, and we're super thankful for it, be at the game.
That's right.
Listening to the Pewter Game Day show. And that just warms my heart. I can't thank everyone enough for their support. And thank you, Paul, for listening to us while you're on the way to the game. That's incredible. Going to the ATL for this game. And Daniel Thurgood said, tuning in from Tokyo Airport, waiting for a flight back to London, #GoBucks. Shows how international once football is, how international Pewter Report is, which is what makes Monday shows with Roll Call so much fun because we learn where fans are watching.
That's right.
Including the Tokyo Airport on their way to London. So thank you for your support, Daniel, as well. That is so cool to see. Also, a new super chat, Louis, Frozen Pirate Pod. Thank you for the $4.99 super chat, who says, Mike has to get going early to help the offense get into rhythm. Get the crowd noise out early. 24-21, Bucs win. There's nothing like getting off to a fast start to take the crowd noise out of it.
That's
you
right.
Start out there with a score and a stop on defense, and you immediately even the playing field.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting, right? Because Mike Evans had the best training camp I think he's ever had at age 32. Now, he didn't play all the snaps. He didn't take all the snaps in training camp. I credit Todd Bowles and Josh Grizzard for putting him out there enough to get warmed up for the season. But, Matt, he was always open and always caught the ball. And he was healthy. No hamstring issues, no nothing. He was the most dominant I've ever seen him in late July and in August. The best offensive player in camp by far. Number 2 was Emeka Egbuka. The rookie literally took training camp by storm. That's good news because that's your 1-2 punch if you're Baker Mayfield out there on Sunday, today, in Atlanta. And, Matt, I'm really curious. Is Mike Evans going to be kind of force-fed the ball because he is the most valuable and trusted target for Baker Mayfield, the chemistry they've had the last 2+ years? Or is it going to be Emeka Egbuka? We saw Chris Godwin got off to such a hot start last year in this imported offense from L.A., the Sean McVay-rooted offense that Liam Cohen brought, that Josh Grizzard now has the controls of. This is a passing attack that goes through the slot receiver.
Yeah.
We saw Chris Godwin get off to a torrid start, so much so that by week 7, when Mike Evans injured that hamstring and was out, we're like, is he going to make 1,000 yards this year?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, he caught fire without Chris Godwin there. And I think his role was different down the stretch. He was used more in the slot because of that. So I'm just curious, your thoughts. Is Mike Evans going to be featured more today, or the Falcons just going to double cover him up? And is Emeka Egbuka going to be the star of the show?
So I think it's more important, and the game plan will dictate this. And there's certain variables that we don't know because Atlanta's defensive coordinator, Jeff Ulbrich, this is his first year with the Falcons. He was previously with the Jets. I think what Atlanta's game plan is going to be is, all right, Chris Godwin Jr.'s not there. No James McMillan. We got to take Mike Evans out of the game. Not like the Saints with Bountygate. Just, try to double team him, do as much as possible. And they're going to say, we're going to make the rookie beat us.
Yeah.
But then they're going to go, oh, snap, this rookie's pretty damn good. So I think early on, Emeka Egbuka will get the lion's share of the targets and the production. And if Tampa is going to be moving the ball in the passing game, it's going to be Emeka Egbuka shining onto the scene right away. But then once the defense goes, okay, now we can't just double team Mike, that's when Mike Evans will kind of, lay down the hammer, throw some punches and things of that nature. I think early first quarter, we're not going to see too much of Mike Evans. It'll be second, third, and fourth quarter where the Mike Evans show truly begins just based on the attention he's going to garner early on, and rightfully so. We're all very excited about Emeka Egbuka, but we are talking about a rookie in his first ever game. I'm sure there's going to be some butterflies, some nerves. So why not try to, force him to make a mistake versus Mike Evans, who's a future Hall of Famer trying to get 1,000 yards for the 12th straight season? It just makes sense that you would pay more of your attention to him. To me, I think this comes down to a lot more of the running game than it does necessarily passing the football with Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans and Emeka Egbuka. But Mike's gonna make some plays. I think he's gonna have some great downfield plays, and I have a certain prop I like for Mike Evans as well.
Yeah, we're going to get to that prop in just a second. Folks, we have to remind you that at 1 o'clock today, Matt Matera and Daniel Morales will be your hosts for Pewter Game Day. 1 o'clock right here on Pewter Report TV, our YouTube channel. You can also watch it streamed live on our X and Facebook accounts. That's at Pewter Report. But every single time the Bucs kick off, you want to be right here for Pewter Game Day. The live reactions from Matt Matera are bar none. We've got a great co-host this year, and Daniel Morales from the Fear of the Bay podcast. He's going to bring his insight into this as well. Matt's in the locker room every single day over there at One Buccaneer Place during the media sessions, and it's great to have that insight to bring to the table. So what we want you to do is obviously watch the game, but then turn down the TV and turn on Pewter Game Day and let Matt Matera and Daniel Morales be your play-by-play and your color commentators for this game and also for next week as well. That's right. Remember, next week, Monday Night Football, we have Pewter Pregame kicking off things at 9 a.m. on Monday. So if you're at work, make sure that you take a break and watch that. And then, of course, at 7 p.m., Pewter Game Day live in Houston, Texas against the Texans. That's going to be an absolute great opportunity for the Buccaneers to end their primetime losing streak, which was 5 games. They even lost that game to the Commanders in the wild card. But, Matt, you were talking about some of your Pewter picks and props. We'll get to that in a second. But first, we got to let everybody know about Splash Sports.
That is right. Pewter Report is partnering up with Splash Sports for the 2025 season, and the NFL season has arrived. You can join over 2.5 million people playing on Splash Sports with the Splash Sports app, the home for Survivor, Pick'em, and Quick Picks. Whether you want to create your own contest with friends or take a shot at life-changing prize pools like the $2.5 million Big Splash Survivor Pool, Splash Sports has you covered. And Bucs fans, this is specifically for you, you can join the official Pewter Report contest on Splash Sports and prove you're the sharpest fan in Bucs Nation. Think you've got what it takes? Download Splash Sports and join the Pewter Report Survivor League, and let's find out who the best Bucs fan really is. So our Pewter Report Survivor League is still going on. You have until 1 o'clock today to enter and join the Pewter Report Splash Sports Survivor League. If you don't know what Survivor is, you pick one team per week. You can't repeat with that team after you pick them one time. If they win, you move on to the next week. If they lose, you are out, but you keep going until you are the last team standing. It's a $15 entry for the Pewter Report Splash Sports Survivor League. But to anyone that enters this pool that we have, you will be eligible to win a free Tampa Bay Buccaneers jersey. We're picking 3 at random. All you have to do is enter the Pewter Report Splash Sports Survivor League. I'll put the link in the bio in the comments in just a moment. But join our league, $15, winner take all. So you can win the Survivor League, get a good amount of money, and also have a chance to win a Buccaneers jersey.
That's awesome.
A player of your choosing. You want Mike Evans? You want Bucky Irving? Antoine Winfield Jr.? Whoever you want. We're going to pick 3 at random over at Splash Sports. So very excited to partner with them. I'll be making my quick picks along with my Pewter picks and props, which you can still watch right now as well once the Pewter Game Day show is done. Because it's all for the Bucs-Falcons game and a couple of Sunday picks as well. So everything is up to date in terms of no game has happened yet. I do separate shows for Monday and Thursday and everything like that. But yeah, check out Splash Sports. You see the QR code right there. You could sign up. I just put the link to our Survivor pool in the comments as well. And yeah, we're very excited for this season and what's in store for Splash Sports and the Bucs.
That's right. How excited are you about this spread today, Matt? Tampa Bay is a 2.5-point favorite.
Yeah, so the line actually moved up a little bit. I was able to get it at -2, which is important to check the lines as much as you possibly can. It's rare that you have a road team as the underdog, especially to begin the week. I would have preferred if this was kind of a pick 'em type of situation.
Right.
But it shows that Vegas has a lot of confidence in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And it used to be where the home team, you get a couple. It used to be like 3 points would be like the difference. Say if everything was even, you'd make the home team -3. But now they say that it kind of shrinks down to maybe it's just like a 1 point difference. So teams are high on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So to be a road favorite, especially in week 1, is really a tip of the cap to what Tampa Bay can be as a team. I still like that line. I like the Bucs. A little spoiler there for everybody. But they got to go out and prove it. They certainly have the talent to do so despite their injuries, but it seems like a pretty fair line.
I agree. And we're going to be talking about the outcome of today's game just really in a few hours. Pewter Game Day kicks off at 1 p.m. and lasts till 4 o'clock or whenever this game ends. And shortly after the game, we've got our Pewter post-game podcast, and that's going to be talking about the NFC South rivalry kicking off in week 1 at Atlanta, Tampa Bay at Atlanta. This is going to be a fun one, folks. You've waited for it for months, and so have we, and we can't wait to talk about it after the game right here on Pewter Report TV, our YouTube channel. It's also going to be streamed live on X and Facebook at Pewter Report. So make sure you tune in probably about 30 minutes after the game. Josh Capo will be reporting from Atlanta. That will allow Matt and I to really jump on the podcast immediately after Todd Bowles and Baker Mayfield speak. So about probably 4:30 is when we're anticipating, and we hope that you join the podcast as well. Matt, we've got a couple more Super Chats to get to, and then we're going to finish off the show with our key matchups to watch on offense and defense.
Yes, we are. First of all, shout out to Joel Elrican, who's now been a
YouTube
channel member for 13 months. Says, good morning, Pewter people. Go Bucs. Yes, go Bucs. Thanks for your support, Joel. GP King, thank you for this $2 Super Chat. Says, Cansey starting off the year with a Game 1 sack. Hey, I'm down for it. Now, I misspoke the other day. I said Kalijah Cansey has never played a Week 1 game. He did play as a rookie briefly when they went up against Minnesota, but it's crazy because he missed all of training camp and then got in for the game against Minnesota. Didn't play that long. Yeah, did not play that long, and then he missed a handful of games until that Creamsicle game. So it does feel like it is his debut. It certainly will be once he gets to the second quarter because it's the most he would have ever played in the first quarter or in a first game for the Bucs. But yeah, I would love for Kalijah Cansey to wreak havoc, as the hashtag goes for the Bucs. I would love for him to dominate in the trenches, especially in the pass rush, knowing that Vita Vea might be a little bit more limited today with that foot injury. Then a lot more of the onus comes on Kalijah Cansey in terms of that third down situation from getting pressure from the interior. We know what we want to see from the outside, but you get that push from the pocket up front, and, I think Hassan Reddick and Yaya Diaby can do the rest of the work.
Yeah, we only have room to really talk about 5 key matchups. There's a lot more than that. And in one of them that is not officially a key matchup for us, it bears mentioning. Kalijah Cansey versus the Pro Bowler on Atlanta's offensive line, Chris Lindstrom. That's going to be a heavyweight fight. All right, you've got Lindstrom, who's a technician. He's got some strength and some size versus Kalijah Cansey, who is an up-and-comer with speed and agility that is rare at the defensive tackle position. So that's going to be a fun one-on-one battle to watch for sure today.
No doubt about it. The guy is gifted. Thank you for this $5 super chat. Appreciate all your support.
Thank you.
Of Pewter Report as a YouTube channel member.
Platinum member. Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, platinum member. Thank you for being a platinum member. Yeah, we say your name every Monday. Let's freaking go. Just want to show love to Pewter Report and all the Bucs fans out here. Feels like Christmas Day. Tampa!
Hey.
Yeah, thank you so much for the support. We are fired up, and seems like everyone in the chat and everyone on social media is pumped about it too. So let's make it a great freaking day. So thank you for the support. Thank you to RP89 as well for this $20 super chat.
Another platinum member. Thank you.
Another Pewter Platinum member. Thanks for your support. Says, good morning, everyone. Bulls won yesterday. Bucs take care of business today. Let's go. That was an awesome,
amazing,
awesome win for USF. Shout out to Nico Gramatica, the son of Martin Gramatica, hitting the game-winning field goal. Awesome game. I watched pretty much every second of it. Too. And a legit conversation now for USF to get into the playoff postseason based on their track record.
They're going to be in the top 20 poll for sure, top 25.
They have to.
They have to be. And beating Boise State and beating Florida back-to-back, especially that road win in the Swamp. Look out, Miami Hurricanes. They're on deck next,
Right?
As Brian S. says, USF gets in business with PR. Look what happens. That's right. We want to thank the Bulls for sponsoring our training camp coverage and for advertising with us. Folks, get out there for that game. I think their next game is against South Carolina State. Yeah. In 2 weeks. So that's going to be fun. Ray J is going to be rocking, especially if they beat the Miami Hurricanes. That would be 3 ranked teams that would have fallen to USF. So we'll see what happens. We're not going to count the chickens before they're hatched, but boy, what a big win. Matt, I won money yesterday for the second week in a row on USF. Big money. I also won big money. Congrats to Army for beating my awful Kansas State Wildcats. Listen, if my team isn't going to win, I'm going to win money off of them, and I did. So I had Army big.
It's called hedging happiness.
Yes, and there we go. Exactly, hedging happiness. So that's what I did. I won money on USF and Army, so that's great. Speaking of money.
Yeah, Richie P, thanks for this $20 super chat. Wow. Richie P is fired up because he says, let's effing go, with several exclamation points. Hell yeah. Thanks for the support, Richie P. Thank you for the super chat. And let's get a great freaking game today.
Yeah.
Timothy Fitzgerald has now been a YouTube channel member for a year. Thank you for your support. Who says, Boomer Sooner, fire the cannons, let's freaking bake. Probably a good omen that Oklahoma won last night as well, and probably the primetime matchup of college football. They beat Michigan last night, so congrats to Oklahoma. Congrats to Baker Mayfield. Hopefully that'll put him in a good mood for this game as well. Henry Gigante, now a member for 13 months, says, apply pressure on these backup tackles for Atlanta. Yaya Diaby and Hassan Reddick gonna have a big day. Let's freaking go. I am so excited to watch Hassan Reddick. Hassan Reddick is probably like my first player to watch on the defensive side for Tampa Bay. Just again, chip. We want to talk about chips on the shoulder and everything like that. Nobody's going to have a more gargantuan chip on his shoulder than Hassan Reddick, based on everything that happened last year. I'm so pumped for Hassan Reddick in a Bucs jersey, 2025 season. I think he may have a sack. That's one of my other prop bets for Peter Picks and Props. It's a payout of plus 300.
I know.
If Hassan Reddick gets a sack today, plus 300, people. Definitely jump on that one.
Yeah, he's going up against Elijah Wilkinson, not the backup right tackle, the third string right tackle, because you have Caleb McGarry out. He's the starter out for the year on injured reserve. Then you've got Storm Norton, who's their swing tackle, their Charlie Heck, if you will. He's out due to ankle surgery that he had over the summer. He won't be back for another 6 weeks or so. So they're having Elijah Wilkinson, who's played more snaps at guard than he has at tackle. And he's going to be protecting the blind side of left-handed quarterback Michael Penix today. So, yes, I'm with you, man. I think I took advantage of that as well. I've got a prop bet on Hassan Reddick getting a sack, and I think it happens.
He's 813. Thank you for this $5 super chat. And a good question, because it can't always just be all sunshine and rainbows. So Hizo says, Matty Diamonds, SR, if the Bucs don't win today, what would be the biggest reason, in your opinions, it didn't happen? I think it's a really good question.
Yeah, two things come to my mind real quick. The turnover battle, right? If they lose the turnover battle, that's huge. That's a decider in a lot of games. And that would mean Baker Mayfield being careless with the football and not getting those strip sacks or interceptions off Michael Penix. So I think that's the first thing. The second thing is if they're not able to stop Atlanta's run game, because I really believe they're going to try to come out and pound the Buccaneers, run right at Hassan Reddick, right? Because you want to wear him out early in the running game. He's only 240 pounds. I mean, Yaya Diaby is about 265 pounds. So there's a big difference in the size of those edge rushers. Even Chris Braswell is 255. It's 15 pounds heavier than Hassan Reddick. So maybe you try to run at him and try to establish that ground game so it's more of a balanced attack. Those are the two things that come to mind. If the Bucs were going to lose, it would probably be one or both of those things.
Yeah, I think obviously Charlie Heck is a big factor into this. If he becomes an absolute liability, I think that's a trickle-down effect of Baker doesn't have time to pass. And if the run game doesn't really get going, I think that could be an issue. Also, defensively, if the pass rush isn't getting home with the four-man pass rush, remember, the Bucs got destroyed last season with overall coverage over the middle. And I know Saracier Dennis is in there, and he should be able to clean up a lot of things.
Right.
But if he isn't, and the middle of the field is wide open, maybe Levante David shows his age a little bit. That could be a big factor into this game as well.
Yeah, I'm with you for sure.
Let's go to Buckeye89, who's now been a member for 2 months. Says, let's start the year off with a big dub against a division rival crew. Keep up the great work, Pewter Report. Thank you, Buckeye89. Appreciate the kind words.
Just a reminder, in case you're just joining us, the latest injury news, my sources tell me that it looks like Vita Vea is going to play. He was listed as questionable, and the team is going to see how he looks during pregame warmups to make that decision, but it's trending in the right way. He was a full participant on Friday. Everybody else is good to go, except for these 4 players: Benjamin Morrison, Christian Izien, Chris Godwin Jr., Tristan Wirfs, all out. No surprises there. They're hoping for Vita Vea to go through warm-ups and that foot cooperate. Again, it was a good sign. He was a full participant in practice on Friday. And so we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He is going to be part of our key matchups to watch. And let's get to those. We'll start on the offensive side first, Matt. Baker Mayfield versus, that should be safety, Jesse Bates, not cornerback. But Jesse Bates really has not been too much of a factor in the Bucs games that he's played in since coming over from the Bengals. I think that's Baker Mayfield's done a pretty good job of avoiding him. Those two went at it back when Baker was with the Browns and Bates was with the Bengals. So Baker knows better than to try to throw to that side of the field, because Bates is a very good ball hawking safety.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The concern with Baker for sure is that, he does throw a handful of picks. In 2023, he didn't, but that was the concern going into the year. But then last season, he was tied with Kirk Cousins for the league lead in interceptions. Now, Baker Mayfield's play and Kirk Cousins' play are two completely different things, because Baker was thrown for 4,500 yards.
That's right.
Over 40 touchdowns. So the positives and the greatness that Baker brought severely outweighed the interceptions that he had. But he was certainly prone to the interceptions. And I think this season, with some of their best skill players down, they can't afford that as much. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on for this game.
Yep, for sure. The next matchup, well, it's kind of a familiar one, right? It's Bucky Irving versus linebacker Divine Diablo. And the last time we saw Bucky Irving in Atlanta, well, he didn't have his best game. Now, from a production standpoint, he ripped off a big run and all of that, but we do know that there was a huge missed face mask call. There it is right there, folks. And that would have put the Buccaneers in position to score a field goal, I believe, right? And that was a missed call. He also had a costly fumble in that game. And to be perfectly frank, he missed some holes too, right? He missed some opportunities to get some yards. This is when the Buccaneers had the lead. You see right there, fourth quarter, 1:38 left, 2nd and 12. And he just didn't follow his blocks really well. There you see that it's blocked more to the right. He runs to the left. This was one of the earlier games for Bucky Irving, and I think he certainly got better as the season went on. But I'm looking for Bucky Irving to really have a good game in Atlanta. Divine Diablo is a fast, athletic linebacker imported from the Raiders. It'll be interesting to see him in his first start with the Falcons.
Not gonna lie, Diablo is a badass name for a defensive player,
no doubt.
but yeah, I think this is. I don't want to keep reiterating chip on the shoulder, but Bucky certainly remembers what happened last season, and
That's
Bucky's been the number one guy of like, hey, who cares what happened last season in terms of his overall success and being on the all rookie team. This is a new year, but something tells me Bucky will take that game kind of personally, and the fact that he's back in a place where you could argue was the most haunting game of his career, besides when he got injured like a minute into a home game, and of course the playoff game. But I think Bucky is going to be the catalyst for the Bucs offense, at least today. I don't know about the entire season. I think he's going to be great. I think he's going to get over 1,000 yards. But to me, with all the injuries going on, Bucky is the biggest catalyst for me. Next up, we have Mike Evans, the future Hall of Fame wide receiver, against cornerback A.J. Terrell. A pretty nice matchup, but we've seen Mike Evans thrive, especially in opening games since Baker Mayfield has been in Tampa Bay. So what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so far I like Baker Mayfield and I like Bucky Irving, and I'm not going to stop there, man. I like Mike Evans over A.J. Terrell, their top cover corner. And again, it'll be interesting to see, right? They have a lot of confidence in Terrell as their shutdown cornerback. He is their version of Zyon McCollum, if you will. But sometimes, hey, listen, everybody needs help, right? At some point in time, we all need a little bit of help. And you have to wonder, are they going to kind of play Jordan rules and say, we're going to try to take away Mike with A.J. Terrell and a safety and let other receivers beat them? Or are they going to say, we trust in A.J. Terrell and we're just going to play kind of our regular base defense and not roll coverage as much to Mike, and we're going to expect our high-paid cornerback to handle business? And didn't work out too well last year, although the Falcons did win. Mike Evans had 2 first-quarter touchdowns as Tampa Bay took an early lead in that game. I like Mike Evans in this one, though.
I think you got to be the cockiest of all cocky of defenses to say, we're going to go one-on-one with Mike Evans. If you're going to go and say, we're going to play Mike Evans the same as everyone else, meanwhile, they're down Chris Godwin Jr. and Jalen McMillan.
Yeah.
That's a cocky move. If I'm Jeff Ulbrich, I'm saying we're going to force Sterling Shepard to beat us.
Yeah.
We're going to force, even though, again, we're very high on him, we're going to force a rookie that has never played an NFL snap in his life to beat us today. We are not going to let Mike Evans beat us. That would be my mindset, my, message to the defense. But hopefully Atlanta tries to get cocky and say, yeah, we can take Mike one-on-one. The answer is Mike all day long.
Yep. Emeka Egbuka versus nickel cornerback Billy Bowman Jr. Matt, it's interesting because both of these guys are rookies. We like Billy Bowman. We saw him at the Senior Bowl coming out of Oklahoma. He's a playmaker at that position, built kind of like Jacob Parrish, undersized cornerback. But Emeka Egbuka is a big physical wide receiver. We've already said it. He's had a tremendous training camp, made some big-time catches in the preseason as well. I have not seen Billy Bowman as a Falcon, so sight unseen, I'm going to be a bit of a homer here and go with Emeka Egbuka, but for good reason. I think Emeka Egbuka is primed for a big day today.
To me, it just boils down to you have a first-round pick against a fourth-round pick. And, no disrespect to being a fourth-round pick. We saw certain fourth-round picks for the Bucs flourish, in their first year with Tampa Bay. But in this matchup, I think you got to go with the first-round pick in Emeka Egbuka.
Yep, I'm with you. And then we didn't pick Charlie Heck because, folks, listen, Charlie Heck, all eyes are going to be on him, right? That's kind of a given.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is if you're Atlanta, you've got a couple of different options. You could go Leonard Floyd, the veteran who they imported in free agency to kind of be that leader of the outside linebacker room. And remember, they tried Matthew Judon last year. They still have Arnold Ebiketie. They have not been able to find the answer at outside linebacker. So what did they do? They got desperate. They went ahead and drafted a couple of players. Jalen Walker in the first round, and he's coming off of a groin injury, and we'll see how effective he is. He injured his groin in the preseason. Big-time physical specimen, great athlete, but was used as kind of a hybrid inside linebacker and rush end at Georgia. So he's kind of a jack of all trades, master of none. The more polished passer is the guy they traded back into the first round for out of Tennessee, James Pierce Jr. Fast, sleek, athletic, quick twitch. And we saw Nate Herbig give Charlie Heck some problems with an inside move in between Heck and Ben Bredesen in that second preseason game where the starters played. And if I'm Raheem Morris and Jeff Ulbrich, I'm making sure that at least a couple of times in this game, they use James Pierce on that side and use that speed to go inside Charlie Heck, who's a big man, 6'8", 320 pounds, long arms, but does not have the best agility and quickness. That's why he's a backup tackle, folks. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think Charlie Heck's going to see all three of those guys. There's not really one guy that he is going to see, but he's going to have his hands full. I would expect to see a lot of Cade Otton and Payne Durham on that side just to block and help out, and maybe even some Rachaad White to chip. So that leaves us to our last key offensive matchup against the Falcons defense, Graham Barton versus Ruke Orhorhoro. And it's interesting because Barton, I think, struggled a little bit in training camp.
That's what I'm thinking.
And the preseason. And he's got to really play well. He has got to take the next step. He cannot play like a rookie this year. He has got to play like Cody Mauch did in his second year last year when he really took that next step. So this is key. If you want to run the ball, if you want to take pressure off Charlie Heck, Matt, if you want to give the Bucs offense some balance so Baker Mayfield doesn't have to pass the ball 40, 50 times to get a win, this is a matchup that I think that they really have to win. This is a first-round pick versus a second-round pick, and Graham Barton has to dominate Ruke Orhorhoro today.
Yeah, I'm with you. I didn't love what I saw from Graham Barton in the preseason. Now, this is a different animal. It's the regular season. I'm sure Graham Barton will be better when the bright lights are on, but I also don't want to look too far ahead, but there are some other opponents that have even better interior defensive tackles than Ruke Orhorhoro that Graham Barton is going to have to deal with. But this is the first test today. Yeah. I'd call this one a push, just kind of based on what we've seen so far. It is something to. I mean, we're all going to be watching Charlie Heck, but a sub story of that offensive line after Charlie Heck is Graham Barton, his matchup.
Yep, I'm with you. Folks, we're going to get to the other side of the ball in just a second. But first, your reminder, if you're not doing anything for the game, why don't you get to Walk-Ons? They got big screens, bold snacks, and all the hype. A ton of new appetizers on the menu, including 2 different sets of nachos, kind of your original nachos. They also have some buffalo chicken nachos as well. And don't forget about the cheeseburger sliders, the boneless wings, the mozzarella logs, everything that you need, the spinach artichoke dip. Fantastic appetizers, a great new menu full of some new items, and TVs galore. There's not a bad seat in the house. So whether you're at Wesley Chapel, Midtown Tampa, or Lakeland, make sure you get to one of those 3 Tampa Bay area locations for Walk-Ons. Did I mention they've got some fantastic kickoff cocktails for limited time only? The Walk-Ons Whiskey Sour, the Players Punch, the Strawberry Mule. That's just a handful of some of the new cocktails they have for you at Walk-Ons. Great food, great football, great deals. 3 Tampa Bay area locations, Wesley Chapel, Midtown Tampa, and Lakeland. Matt, let's take a look at our final matchups on the defensive side of the ball here. We're going to go with Vita Vea, anticipating him playing today. And the Falcons have a new center, right? Their longtime center is now with the, Cleveland Browns, I believe?
Yes.
Left in free agency. So Ryan Neusel is their new center. And this is going to be a little bit of an interesting twist because Michael Penix didn't play at all in the preseason. That's right. Michael Penix, who only has 3 NFL starts and only played in 1 preseason game last year. doesn't have any snaps in the preseason. So he's going to be going into this game cold. So is Baker Mayfield. But Baker Mayfield has got tons of games in playoff games worth of experience. This is Michael Penix's 4th start ever in the NFL. His first against the Todd Bowles defense.
Yeah. His
first time in a season opener. And now he's got a new center to work with. And they have yet to take snaps in a regular season game or even a preseason game.
Boggles my mind that Michael Penix Jr. didn't play at all in the preseason. I understand, preserving players for the regular season, but rookies always play and young players always play until they're an established, full-time starter and stuff like that. That's why we didn't see Bucky Irving much in the preseason because he did it all last year as a rookie. Michael Penix Jr. just played 3 freaking games. So to me, the Bucs need to shut down Bijan Robinson to force Michael Penix Jr. to stay in the to be in the pocket and throw because he's not that mobile.
Yeah.
So that's crazy to me. In terms of the individual matchup, Vita Vea, in my opinion, I almost got offended when I think it was Chris Sims during the Cowboys-Eagles game. They're obviously talking about Jalen Carter getting ejected. He said, Jalen Carter's the best defensive tackle in the league. And I was like, hold on. Did you forget about Vita Vea? So I'm going to take Vita Vea in pretty much every matchup this upcoming season. Despite the foot, I think, there's a reason why he didn't really practice that much. They just want to keep as much weight off of it as much as possible. But if you're playing, you're in, and there's no more excuses after that. So I'll take Vita Vea.
I'm with you. I'm with Vita Vea too. Yaya Diaby versus left tackle Jake Matthews. Matt, this is important because usually Yaya is going to be going against the blind side of the quarterback. But with Michael Penix being a left-handed passer, he'll be rushing into the face of Yaya Diaby. And one thing about this matchup is you're going to see a lot of one-on-ones between Jake Matthews, the 30-year-old grizzled veteran, who is a good player still, not great, not a Pro Bowler like he was earlier in his career. Maybe youth will be served here. Yaya Diaby, I think, is going to get a lot of one-on-ones. He's going to have to win that matchup. He is going to have to maybe cause some strip sacks. He recovered a fumble against the Falcons his rookie year, but this is going to be a key matchup. He's going to have to get some of those one-on-one wins against Jake Matthews because I would expect the Falcons and offensive coordinator Zach Robinson to chip and double team and help out Elijah Wilkinson against Hassan Reddick. You're probably going to double team either Kalijah or Vita. So this is the guy that has got to win some one-on-ones, and more importantly, he's got to stay home and be disciplined in his rush lanes and allow some of those sacks to come his way. He can get, if he gets 10 sacks this year, Matt, 4 or 5 of those could easily be cleanup sacks with pressure coming from up the middle or from Hassan Reddick's. And all he has to do is just be in position to get the quarterback down.
Just make sure he shuts the door.
And I like Yaya on this one, to be honest. I really do. I think he's ready to go.
So the Bucs need the 2023 version of Yaya Diaby, not the 2024 version of Yaya Diaby. But I'm not just kind of giving my thoughts about this based on the hope of what Yaya can be. So I'm actually going with Jake Matthews because to me, Yaya didn't. There was so much put on a pedestal for Yaya last season. I know he got hurt in training camp, and I get it. He does everything else well, but edge rushers are ultimately decided by getting to the quarterback. And Jake Matthews, while he's still good, I think he's going to have a pretty solid matchup against Yaya. So I'm going with the offensive tackle in this one.
I am too. I wrote about him on Friday in my SR's Fab 5 column on pewterreport.com. If you're looking for something to read before kickoff, go read that SR's Fab 5 column on pewterreport.com, plus all of our pregame coverage on pewterreport.com. Servassier Dennis will be getting his first start at middle linebacker, and he's replacing KJ Britt, and hallelujah, amen to that. Servassier Dennis, they missed him last year. He had 11 tackles in that week 2 win at Detroit, a week 1 sack against Jaden Daniels. Memo to everybody in the Bucs defense that they got during that playoff loss. Hard to sack, but Servassier Dennis got a trophy sack, his first sack against Jaden Daniels. And he's going to be going up against one of the better running backs in the league, right, in Bijan Robinson. And he's going to have to really, I think, maintain his gap integrity. He can't get a little too antsy. He's got to stay home, fill his gap, but then also have that sideline to sideline speed once the play bounces outside to get Bijan Robinson down and not allow yards after contact or to get to the second or third level. So a big game from Servassier Dennis is needed. Oh, and by the way, maybe in pass coverage, right? The last time the Bucs were in that building, Kirk Cousins, 509 yards and 4 touchdowns. A lot of those throws were in the middle of the field against KJ Britt. So Servassier Dennis needs a big game against Bijan Robinson. Sight unseen, this is a push for me. I have not seen enough of Servassier Dennis. I'm not going to bet against him, but I can't say he is going to absolutely win this matchup just yet.
This is the tallest of tasks for your true first-time start as an every-game starter to go up against Bijan Robinson, who I think many consider a top 3 running back in the league behind Saquon and Derrick Henry. I think Servassier's impact is going to be felt more in the passing game than necessarily stopping the run. And that could be covering Bijan Robinson, but it also could be covering Kyle Pitts or,
that's right,
playing zone and covering over the middle. So I have confidence in Servassier in terms of his pass coverage, but I still got to go with Bijan Robinson based on, the impact that he has and the production that he brings to Atlanta. If the Bucs can shut him down, it'll go a long way into winning this game.
Yeah, he's got to play within himself, not to get too amped up, and we'll see what happens at 1:00. Hassan Reddick versus Elijah Wilkinson. Both those guys, Yaya Diaby and Hassan Reddick, were talking about this game back in training camp, but little did we know it wouldn't be Caleb McGarry not playing. It's going to be Elijah Wilkinson at that right tackle spot, and I think this should be a huge win for the veteran who's looking to get off on the right foot in Tampa Bay and get back to those double-digit sack ways. Should be a big day for Hassan Reddick against Elijah Wilkinson. He's going to be getting a lot of double teams and chips for sure, but I still like Hassan Reddick to get a sack and have a grand opening in Red and Pewter. I'm taking Hassan Reddick in this matchup.
Yeah, of course. I mean, backup offensive tackle against a guy who's ready to prove that he's still got it on a new team. He's loved being here. He said he's having so much fun with this team, and the defense is having so much fun together as a group. Remember, it's a new look secondary as well, which I think will help the pass rush in terms of tighter coverage and being more aggressive, hopefully actually freaking intercepting the football.
Yeah.
But with that extra coverage will help with the pass rush and especially the 4-man pass rush. So I like Hassan Reddick in this matchup too. And speaking of the secondary, our final matchup is the newly paid man, Zyon McCollum, going up against Drake London, who has given the Bucs some issues in previous games. But Scott, how do you see this one?
Well, I like this matchup for the Buccaneers and for Zyon McCollum. He's going to be, in cloud 9, right, making a ton of money, and he's the kind of person that's going to want to go out and prove that he's worth it. We saw Drake London, you're right, have some big games, scored a touchdown. This was mostly against Tyke Smith in that game in Atlanta last year, but I do like Zyon McCollum in this matchup. I think he's playing with a real high degree of confidence. We saw that interception, which is a very aggressive play in Pittsburgh. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets a pick today. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets a pick 6 today. I'm going to go on record saying that.
Whoa. All right.
So Zyon McCollum, is I think it's going to win the matchup. This is going to go back and forth. Drake London might even have a touchdown. This is going to be a heavyweight fight, but it's going to go to the cards. Zyon McCollum wins this today. And listen, go read Josh Capo's piece on Jamel Dean today. Great article. Jamel Dean's going to see a lot of action today, a lot of throws. Why? Partly because he is the right cornerback, which will be on the left side of the field for Michael Penix, and Penix typically throws more to the left side. And another key thing to watch, Zyon McCollum will be playing some in the slot today. I really think that he's going to be playing more man coverage against Drake London. So when London lines up in the slot, you're going to see the bigger-bodied McCollum line up in the slot too. That would kick Jacob Parrish outside to play against Darnell Mooney and kind of switch roles from playing slot to outside with Zyon McCollum. So I do like the Buccaneers in this game, Matt. I think we picked mostly Buccaneer players to win these matchups. My score prediction and our Pewter picks and our Pewter preview predictions was, I believe, 26 to 19. And I like Tampa Bay to start off the season 1-0.
I think they're going to win as well. I do believe in this revamped defense for Tampa Bay. I think Hassan Reddick makes a big difference. I think Jacob Parrish is an important addition. We got to remember a healthy Antoine Winfield Jr. and also Tyke Smith moving to the safety position. That's a tweak, along with Servassier Dennis playing in the middle as well. I believe in this Bucs defense. I think they're going to get the job done today. I also think we're going to see a little bit of growing pains with the Bucs offense early on. Remember, this is Josh Grizzard's first game. Right. But then once they figure it out, it's going to be full steam ahead. So I have the Bucs winning 28-14. I think it's a good way to begin the year. A dominant win over a division rival and a team that swept you last year, and you set the tone for the beginning of the season. But I'm really excited. Just that football has arrived, and should be a lot of fun this afternoon. It's
been a long time coming. Folks, we invite you to check out our content on Instagram, Facebook, and X at Pewter Report. And please visit Pewter Report TV, our YouTube channel, and hit the subscribe button. We're less than 200 subscribers away from 21,000. Incredible growth, thanks to you all. Just a reminder about some upcoming programming here. Let's start it off with Pewter Game Day. At 1 o'clock today, join Matt Matera and Daniel Morales for some fun at 1 o'clock and all the way through the game. And then at 4:30-ish, we're going to be having the Bucs at Falcons post-game podcast for you right here on Pewter Report TV, our YouTube channel. That will be streamed live. So will Pewter Game Day on X and Facebook at Pewter Report. I want to thank everybody for kicking off the Bucs 50th season with us this morning on the Pewter Pregame podcast, and greatly appreciate. We love the interaction with you guys. Thanks so much for the super chats. We want to see you all at 1 o'clock at Pewter Game Day, and then at 4:30 for our post-game podcast. Oh, and by the way, let's do a show tomorrow and have it be a Victory Monday podcast at 4 p.m. on Pewter Report TV. Wouldn't that be fun?
That would be fantastic to have a Victory Monday, but it's got to start with the Bucs winning today, this afternoon. Yep. So please join us for the Pewter Game Day show at 1 o'clock and then the Pewter Post Game show after. That's going to do it for us on this morning's show. For Scott Reynolds, I'm Matt Matera saying thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you soon for another Pewter Pregame show. Out.